Hello folks, Reloading Bench back with you once again. And as you can see, we have a couple of items on the bench. This is an old 1911, and based on the serial number, this is from 1959. So we're talking, let's see, 1960 to 2000 is 40 years plus 25, 65. So we're talking 66-year-old piece of hardware that is in absolutely stunning original condition. Stunning by my measure, probably not by a collector's measure. So there's that to get out of the way. But this is a two-parter. Two-parter being part one, part two. And the story behind this particular 1911 was years ago when I was looking for what I would call my donor 1911 that I eventually sent to Nighthawk to do their Colt Nighthawk custom, which is their shadow. I don't remember the tinting, but I did a video last year, I think, or the year before on that particular product, and I supplied at the time a pretty beat up 1911, and Nighthawk did a great job. But when I was trying to find a beat up 1911 years ago, the pictures online, this was a gunbroker acquisition, the pictures online did not do this particular 1911 any justice. So I thought I was getting a pretty trashed 1911, and the price was reflective of the fact that it didn't appear to be a great condition 1911. So again, this was going to be the project gun. And when this showed up at my local gun shop, I was amazed at the finish. It's stunning. And original bluing. And I was like, oh goodness, this sucks. There's no way I'm going to use this as my donor gun. So I had to go back to the pool to find that really beat up 1911 that I ultimately sent to Nighthawk. Well, fast forward to late last year, November-ish, I guess, and that same shop, they know I have a soft spot for both 1911s and 22 long rifle. And it's been a goal for a long time to find a Colt Ace. A purpose-built, complete 1911 format 22 long rifle. And the only way for me to get it in my state is it has to be older than 50 years. But everything on the gunbroker side for Colt Aces are ridiculously expensive. So, and now that my state has passed additional assembly bills, tacking on an additional 11% on top of sales tax. So, if I were to buy this today on Gunbroker for, let's call it $1,000, and we all know that that's an unrealistic price. But for rounding purposes, so $1,000, Gunbroker charges 11%. So there's, $110 plus sales tax, another 10%. So now we're at $1,200 and change. California has an 11% tax on top of that, so we're at 13 and change. My local shop has a fee, a delivery fee, so there's another $130, I think. So we're at 14, and then gross, so we're at like $1,500. So a $1,000 gun is $1,500 now. So that's besides the point. But in any case, soft spot for 1911s, soft spot for 22 long rifle. And that's where this package comes in. So, happened to be in the shop, shooting the breeze with the guys behind the counter. And they mentioned that the owner took in some consignment. And this was one of the consignment goodies. And they're like, hey, you interested? I'm like, yeah, I'm interested. What would the price be? Don't know. Shop owner hadn't priced it yet. So I'm like, okay, well, let me know. So this past weekend, I get a text saying, hey, you still interested? And what this is in here, and it doesn't have the box. This is a similar era. I don't know the exact manufacture date, but you know, when I look at you know, the finish and the actual Colts PTFA MFG Company, Hartford, Connecticut, USA, it exactly matches this particular stamping, you know, different serrations and whatnot. And for those who are going to have a conniption, this is unloaded. And for those who also have a conniption on why I block my serial numbers or don't share my serial numbers, it's because that's my choice. So this came with almost all the parts. So from a bushing, a barrel, and I don't know if this is actually called the bushing, so some may refer to this as the bushing. So apparently you'll see some with and without these 22 kits, with and without. And let me get this out of there. This is a major, I don't know what that's called, but without that, this doesn't work. And this will come out if I get this correctly lined up. There we go. So this particular bushing is apparently not included with some of them, included with some, and I've, you know, somebody online told me this was like $150, so ouch. But the kit came with obviously the slide, a barrel. Again, I can't remember what this piece is called that's necessary for it to actuate, the barrel bushing, and then a kit of goodies. And the kit of goodies includes a slide stop, the spring, and a wrench, which don't need. Another barrel without this bushing, and this is called shot barrel. So I don't know if this is, let me take a flashlight to that and look down that. You know, it's definitely dirty, so it's been shot. Looks really good, all things considered. So there's this barrel, there's this barrel without the bushing, and again, I'm guessing this will add up to a little bit of chunk of change. Then there's this barrel with some notes, and this barrel does include the bushing. Dirty as all can be. Obviously, this stuff needs a great cleaning, but that's part of the fun. So we've got a barrel and bushing, a barrel and bushing, and again, I'm calling this a bushing. Some may call this the barrel bushing, so forgive me. And two Colt Ace conversion 22 long rifle magazines. These are not Colt magazines, but I would imagine they're relatively costly now. All steel. In fact, if I remember, I will put the price of these magazines, get that gunk off there, these magazines in the video when I publish this up for YouTube to flag it. All right, so all of this was for what I would call a reasonable price. The price is my business, but it's cheaper than all of this on Gunbroker. So this allows me, and it doesn't have, and some will say, you know, because it's the kit, you're supposed to use the spring cover. I can't remember the official name for that part right now, so someone will fault me for that, as well as the GI guide rod. So I've seen kits that come with the spring bushing, spring cover. I've seen kits that do have the GI guide rod. I've seen posts that say that the GI guide rod and the spring cover did not come with the kit. So, a little bit of everything. So what I'm going to do is take this apart off screen, because we're not going to do any type of assembly or manufacturer against any of YouTube's rules. So this is what the parts look like, and I'll take this off, this top slide and its key parts off, and put the 22, the conversion unit on the frame. And if anybody knows what year, and that was janky, that's going to come off. I'll probably do that before I start anything. That's way janky. That looks like some homemade stuff right there. So I'll be back once I kind of put this together as a 22 instead of a 45 ACP piece of Colt memorabilia. Back in a bit. All right, so we are back, and I swapped things out. I have I don't think I can show that on screen. I had a magazine in there. I forgot to mention that in this bag with the barrel wrench was a spring that was much shorter than this spring that was in the slide originally, as well as the slide stop. So the pieces that were on the original firearm with this link were this spring, this slide stop, that magazine. So I'm going to say that there's no way this will work. And the reason I say that is because the amount of force for me to rack that slide, and let me do this because it's easier than trying to catch it. The amount of force, and maybe that's just because it needs oil, the amount of force for me, and this is the original spring cover, spring bushing that was in this particular slide. The amount of force that it took me to rack this, I just can't imagine that 22 would be able to cycle this slide. So what I'm going to do is take this apart again, and I'm going to show you what I noticed at the shop, and I brought it into question, and we'll be back in a minute. Okay, so one of the things I noticed was this particular ring, which looks like it's almost identical to just the spring. And I don't see a lot of wear here, that if a guide rod was hitting this, it doesn't look like there's any wear there. Don't know if that's true for any of the other barrels. Let's bring that out. There's no wear here. There's no wear, and this is called the shot barrel. Let me see what the shot barrel looks like in terms of... That doesn't look bad. Colt caliber 22 long rifle. Colt count, same. So, don't know what to say other than, all the parts are dirty as shit. So there might be so much gunk in here that's part of the reason why ejector feels fine, why this is so tight. So what I'm going to do is reassemble without this, just to see how the slide moves, just out of curiosity. So, and again, the difference in the springs, you can see the thickness of the metal, much lighter, much shorter. All right, so we'll be back in a minute after I put things together again without the guide rod, and then I'm going to do a little research. So this might be a multi-part. All right, so we're back together again, minus the guide rod, and you know, it cycles, but it's stiff. So I think the next step is going to be to put it back together in its 45 ACP format and do a thorough cleaning. So I think part 2 of this, I'm going to do a little bit of research, and, you know, anybody in the comments, if you know, guide rod yes, guide rod no. I'm thinking yes, guide rod, based on everything I've seen, but I'm sure there's somebody who knows much more than me. But in any case, the desire to build and put together, hands are quite dirty, not a Colt Ace, but something very, very similar in terms of, you know, something from the 1950s that works in 22. But I do think a cleaning will make a huge difference. There is a ton of gunk there, and we'll go from there. So I think there is more to come on this. We'll call this part 1 of cool find, but doesn't feel right. Just doesn't feel right at this particular juncture. What is my thumbnail going to be? Something like this, something like that. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, it doesn't feel right at the moment. More to come. Hello, folks. Reloading Bench back with you, and after much Google fooing, I have come to the realization there's a couple camps regarding the Colt 22 conversion kit. And there's a pre-war and a post-war, and this is post-war-ish. And post-war, the kit looks like this, and I'll throw pictures up in terms of not having to look at this, but the actual image. I'll stitch that into the video. And as you can see, this particular yellow diagram is this, and this is the acro rear sight. Not so clear in this picture. You can see the barrel with the it's called the floating chamber, that little thing. This is the ejector, and obviously that's the spring, that's the magazine, and that's the slide stop that came with it. No bushing, no spring plug, no guide rod, nothing else. Now, people who got kits in the 80s, I think Colt updated the kit, and it had some of this stuff. So again, this is what it came with. It came with the barrel, floating chamber, slide stop, ejector, slide, spring, and magazine. I did some more research on some of the forums, and, you know, again, these are different forums. This is from September of 2018. Post-war kits did not have bushings, guide rods, or spring plugs. Another, post-war 22 conversion units did not include the barrel bushing, recoil spring guide, spring plug. There's another one, this one also from 2018. According to my 1967 instructions for the Colt 22 conversion kit with floating chamber and Colt's acro, maybe I'm mispronouncing that, rear sight, the kit consisted of slide assembly, barrel, floating chamber, ejector, recoil spring, magazine, and slide stop. It also states that the barrel bushing, recoil spring, guide rod, and plug from the pistol being converted are to be used in the conversion process. Now, the 1980 edition states that a barrel bushing is part of the kit. So, you know, when I look at other pictures, and I'll show some of those pictures as I'm talking here, it's very clear that, you know, people added to these kits over time. So, you know, if somebody has a kit, maybe they got the kit and then they added some of the other parts like the guide rod, like the bushing, the spring cover, and such. And I don't remember if this particular magazine, slide stop, spring, ejector, floating chamber. Yeah, okay. So it didn't list any of the other parts that were needed. It just said, you know, use the existing gun. So clearly, and let's talk about, so I did a little research on parts as well. This particular part is like 80 bucks online. Integral part, and this is so dirty. Spring, I didn't see prices on. I really didn't price the spring. But the slide stop, this is apparently a big deal. So some, well, slide stops are supposed to have a number. If it doesn't have a number on it, that means it's meant for 45 ACP. Number 1 is also meant for 45 ACP. So blank or 1 is 45 ACP. This is a 1. What came with this kit is a number 2 slide stop. So this is not the original to this kit slide stop. So I'm guessing whoever owned this, you know, got it mixed up with one of the guns, one of the slides he was putting it on, and inadvertently it's the wrong one. So this is not a showstopper. It's just not original to the kit, and there may be an issue with the magazine, the slide locking open on an empty magazine. These magazines by Triple K are about 55 bucks today each. A real Colt magazine is anywhere from like $150 to $300. So, you know, crazy prices. Just like the price of the kit, you know, the average price is like $700+. You'll see some for a little less, some for a lot more online. So, you know, the pricing is just all over the place. Apparently EGW makes a number 2 clone, but they stamp A for Colt Ace on the back. So I think there were only 4 types of slides for the slide stops made by Colt. A 2, a 3, a 4, a 1, 2, 3, and a 4. The 1 and 0, 45 ACP, the 2 for the 22, the 3 for 38, Super 38, and the 4, Super 38 9mm, and the 4 for 10mm, according to my my in-depth research. So this, and I think the, again, I'm not sure the difference if there's a length here or if there's a certain cut that has to happen here. So I'm very curious. I'll look on my Colt 1911, that's the donor for this particular slide, and see if that has a different number there. The barrels, the bushing, oh my God, this floating chamber, this little thing. So the barrel's roughly, a barrel like this with the floating chamber, about $200 or so. This alone is online right now for $150. And look how nasty this is. God, that's in terrible, you know, dirty condition. So, you know, right here is 200 bucks. Here's another, I'm going to call it $150. You know, here's $100 in magazines. You know, I think it was 80 bucks, 79, 80 bucks. This, the EGW, I think it's EGW. I might be a little wrong on that. I think that was 69, obviously tax, shipping, and all that good stuff. A slide, I didn't price a slide by itself. So, you know, then there's issues with the firing pin, issue meaning the correct size firing pin and whatnot. So, and the slide and the firing pin stop. Everything is just ridiculously priced for this conversion kit if you were to buy it all separately. So, you know, that reinforces my purchase decision on this. Like, I didn't do too bad. I'm not unhappy with the purchase, let's put it that way. But this is hella dirty. And again, I'll show pictures because for the most part, it looks like, you know, this is what things came with. Some people will show, you'll see pictures that some have a bushing, a barrel bushing, you know, this particular, some don't. Some have the guide rod, some have a full-length GI guide rod, some have an original length GI guide rod, full length being, you know, like the Springfields, the two-piece Springfield. I've never seen a one-piece full-length guide rod. So again, I don't know if that's, you know, a Springfield clone or what, but you know, this has all the almost correct pieces. Again, won't know until I take it out to the range and actually try that. But yeah, it needs a major cleaning. So that will be probably the primary focus. And I'll see if my slide stop on my other 1911 that was going to be used for this has a zero, excuse me, has a blank or a 1 for 45 ACP. So be right back with that confirmation later. All right, so I did take the slide stop out of here, and this is unmarked. There is no marking there, so that is for 45 ACP. So this is unmarked, and the one I have, where do I have it? In here, this one. I don't know if you can see it, if the camera will catch it, but there's a 1 there. So again, not true to the kit. Interesting to have it marked, I guess is a good thing. But finding a number 2, I don't know if I'll go the clone route or try and find a real one. It's kind of like finding a real magazine, you know. Is it something I'm interested in doing right now? Probably not right now. Maybe something over time, possibly. But I did want to show you, this is what I was talking about. I can't tell if that's, you know, cut in half or a two-parter rather, like a Springfield. I've never seen a GI guide rod that is that size. You know, usually the GI guide rods are, you know, tiny, you know, what I showed in the previous segment of the video. So that is it for now. I don't know. I think I'll publish this as is. And maybe the next video will be on cleaning and function tests to see if it will even slide, because apparently this kit was only meant for government models, which this is, government model, or Super 38. So this is the right frame for this kit. This is hella dirty, and I think that has a lot to do with how it feels on this frame. So we will give it a good cleaning and see where we're at from there. But I'll probably publish this version with more to come later. Take care. And we are going to call this range ready. So here are all the parts from the 45, when this pistol was a 45, and as you can see, magazine is here. It is unloaded. Nothing there. And you saw how I was able to rack it. So here's all the original 45 pieces that you've seen before: magazine, slide, spring, barrel, bushing, slide stop with no marking, which means it's 45 ACP. This is the triple K clone version of the Colt 22 magazine. The issue with this slide stop being a number 1 for a 45 ACP might be that things do not magazine will not, with this particular magazine and this slide stop, may not open on last round fired, and it may not stay open on last round fired. So let me put this magazine in here, and I will rack it, and it stays open on an empty magazine. So I don't know if that will remain open on an empty magazine at the range. And you can't see it, but I cleaned, I mean, when you look at that floating chamber, it's spotless as compared. I cleaned the hibby-jibbies out of this particular 22 configuration. So everything functions as it should. I don't want to drop the trigger on it. All works, and it racks. Now, will it work correctly at the range? I don't know. I just don't know. So we will find out. But it is in a lot better shape than it was when I first picked it up. So it will go away in storage, and I still need to fix that. That's a to-do. Bugs me. I need to get. I tried some isopropyl alcohol, and it's whatever paint or whatever it is. I will try some acetone and see if that takes it off. But the 45 ACP parts will go into storage. M-Pro 7 is my favorite all-around cleaner, ballistol for the barrel, and I use some Breakthrough Battleborn for the CLP and lubing it up. And it feels good. It really does. Actually, let me do it with a little harder with the trigger. And the spring in here is from the kit. So bushing or spring cover, bushing that came with this, barrel bushing that came with the kit. So the only thing I put in was the GI guide rod and the spring cover. And there's probably a more official name for that particular piece of hardware, but that's what I'll call it for right now. So we're going to call this a wrap, and maybe I'll, depending on when I publish this and when I get to the range, this might or might not, if I get to the range before I publish this, I'll put a thumbs up, thumbs down on how it went with the range. Otherwise, it'll be another video later on. Take care for now.